Hey, what's going on, you guys? And welcome to the Big Waves Only podcast where we talk about sports, fashion, hip hop culture, pop culture, and honestly, whatever the hell we want to talk about. And today I got a very, very, very special guest. Very special guest. I got my guy.
Okay.
He's a I gotta introduce you the right way. He's a business savvy entrepreneur,
Okay.
a public figure, an influencer, a content creator, a host, a father, a man of the people. Who's an absolute legend here in the Carolinas, known for his skills behind the ones and twos and his unmatched drive. He's a multi-award winning DJ. You can catch him rocking out at some of the hottest clubs all over. He curates playlists. He hosts showcases and more. Give it up for my boy DJ Chuck T.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you feeling today, young man? How you feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling great. You know what I'm saying? Not a care in the world, no complaints whatsoever, man.
I know that's right. Man. So I always like to start off the podcast by asking, where are you from?
Charleston, South Kakalaka.
Charleston.
Yep, that's
So
what Chuck T stand for, Chucktown.
Okay.
Yep, Charleston, South Carolina. Wore the name of my city. I couldn't do it no other way.
For sure. I'm from up north. I never been to Charleston. I haven't been there yet.
Oh, man.
So, could you tell me a little bit about Charleston? How was it growing up there?
So I'm actually from North Charleston, which
Charleston.
is a totally separate city than the city of Charleston.
Okay.
So in most cities, the west side, the north side, the east side, they're all part of the same city.
Yeah.
But North Charleston and the city of Charleston are totally different because the city of Charleston, even though they're right next to each other,
Right.
the city of Charleston is literally a historic city. It's a tourist city. It's a city where, just historically over 2/3 of all of the slaves that entered into the United States during slavery entered in through the port of Charleston.
Wow.
So it's a very, very historic city as far as the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and everything that sort of happened in between. Now, North Charleston was a part of Charleston until, if I'm not mistaken, the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And then it was annexed into its own separate city. Now, North Charleston is mainly known for business. It's
Okay.
known for industrial businesses. It's known for manufacturing. You have the Boeing plant where they build the airplanes. You had the military that was there for the longest, the Navy. And the Air Force is actually still there in North Charleston.
Okay.
On top of that, huge shipping city because of the ports that are there. It's on the water. So they're two totally different cities in contrast. But one of the main things that stands out is the crime.
Okay.
So the city of Charleston has been voted the nation's most friendliest city at least, I would say, 3 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken. It's always in the top 5, or at least as long as I've been alive. It's always in the top 5 most friendliest cities in America. But North Charleston is on a totally different type of scale. It's always top 30 most dangerous cities in the United
So
States.
kind of like you cross that bridge kind of situation is like day and night.
Yep. So growing up in North Charleston was it was a little different. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say we grew up in poverty. There are some bad parts of North Charleston, but drugs are heavy there. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily the drug users, it's the drug dealers, because we're right there on the port. So everything that comes in got to come in through North Charleston.
That's some big time.
Yeah, so a lot of people, they just know North Charleston people for being hustlers. You know what I'm saying? And naturally, when you have all that money coming in, then the crime comes with it. You know what I'm saying? The robberies, the shooting, the killing, and things of that nature.
But it seemed like you picked up a good part of the hustle of North Charleston.
Yeah,
person.
so I'm just one of those people who, because of my environment and how I grew up, because my pops was in the military, I always had my head on a swivel. I always was 3 steps ahead of what was going on. I always was able to sort of analyze the situation and see, okay, these are my exits. This is where I need to be. This is how I can read the room. This is how I can see everything, and if I got to fight my way out of a situation, this is what I need to be. Situational awareness was instilled in me from a very, very young age. Part of that let me know that this ain't something you could do forever.
Yeah.
You know, so I was one of those people who got in, got my money, got out. I had no intentions of being a career criminal like a lot of people are. And I did have a lot of OGs around me who, you know, used to always tell me, don't get that F on your record, young man. You know what I'm saying? Don't get that F on your record. That felony gonna travel forever. It's gonna fuck your whole life up. Do not get a felony.
That's some real real game, man. I feel like it's a lot of OGs out here that's misleading a lot of the youth nowadays. I remember, you know what I'm saying? I'm still young myself, but you know, I come from a area as well where we have OGs and, you know what I'm saying, we young bloods or youngins, whatever you want to call it. And they gave us a lot of game like, hey, stay away from that. You know what I'm saying? And even when, you know, we started making decisions as our own as young men, they still told us to, all right, well, make the best decision if you're going to do whatever it is that you got to do. But like you said, get in and get out, not make it a career or whatnot.
Exactly, yeah. You know, and it didn't take long for me to see the people around me who got locked up. You know, I told people I never had to actually do a bid in order to feel what it's like to do a bid because everybody around me did it. So I was always having to go put money on people's books. I was always having to go take people kids to school and take people kids to daycare and drop off money to baby mamas and mamas. And I always had to, you know, be on the phone and listen to those sob stories, man. My girl cheating on me. You know, man, my girl ain't answering the phone. She done took the kids. You know, man, my mama's sick. She got cancer. I can't go see her. Like, there's just so many different scenarios. You know what I'm saying, man? Some niggas jumped my son the day of school, yada, yada. And then just what they got going on back there, man. I see a nigga get his throat slashed today, bro. You know what I'm saying? Damn, they shanked my roommate. You know, like, it was always something that made me say, like, that ain't for me.
My mom always says every life lesson don't have to be lived. You
Bingo.
know what I'm saying? So it seemed like you picked that up earlier.
Yeah. So many young people, they got to go out there and experience themselves. I was never one of those people who had to experience certain things myself.
Like, hell nah, I seen what you just did. Like, I ain't doing that.
Like, you talking about niggas who on the street was real live killers. You know what I'm saying? Like the real live gangsters, the real live street niggas. And when they get back there behind them walls, like, I would hear them crying over their baby mama. Man, how many times you called my baby mama today? Man, I called her 3 times. She didn't answer. Man, I heard she fucking a nigga, man. And she got my kids around that nigga, bro. And I'm talking about the hardest niggas ever that I ever have met. I'm talking about nigga with exactly. I'm talking about real tears on the phone. Like, man, keep calling, bro. Call till she answer. I'm like, damn, boy. Like,
got it bad.
And I seen people bag get fucked up. They shit, boy. You know, I'll be straight when I come home, boy. I left my baby mama, or I left my partner, or you know, I left, you know, my auntie with 300 bands, bro. And then they come home 3 years later, like, well, they done spent all the motherfucking money, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing to show for it except for cars in the yard. Like, where the fuck the money go?
So you can say definitely that your father, your family definitely helped shape you in that way.
So, you know, I grew up in a 2-parent household. Me and all my siblings got the same mama and daddy.
Nice.
You
How
know,
many siblings you have?
I got 3 older siblings. I'm the youngest. And you know, shit, my mom was a teacher. Like I said, my dad was in the Navy. So, you know, I definitely had that structure, that family unit growing up. And now that I'm older, I realize, you know, and I tell this to the young boys all the time, like, don't have kids until you get married. You know what I'm saying? Please don't do it. Don't get caught up in the baby mama, and don't have kids until you at least hit 30.
Yes.
You know, and when you get with somebody, you know, male and female, when you get with somebody, enjoy them first. Don't just rush to the fuck raw and get pregnant, and then, you know, like, you gotta know the person, man. So, you know, just my experiences, my environment, it shaped me. The people around me, they always believed in me. The OGs always invested in me. Like, I don't have a lot of the sob stories that a lot of people have, and I guess that's why, you know, I have sort of just accepted the fact that I'm older. I stopped dyeing my beard. I let the gray grow in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just accepted the OG role because I know how important it is, because I had the OGs who shaped me and molded me and helped me become successful. So, you know, I try to do the same thing because that's all I know. Like, I don't know what it's like to be that nigga who's 40 years old, you know, and still wearing the skinny jeans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And still out here. Yeah, like, still out here chasing, you know, females half their age. Like, I don't know that lifestyle. You know, like all I know is you get money, you get knowledge, you find you know what I'm saying, one or two beautiful women who gonna hold you down. You
Straight
know,
up.
I really prefer one.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, some people have two.
I feel that.
You see what I'm saying? Some people have two, and you know the situation is cool with all people's involved. But you know, you go after happiness. You don't look around you and see what other people are doing. You do what makes you happy and what makes you money and what keeps you motivated.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, what are like some of your keys to success? What are some things that like make you happy?
Always seek knowledge. You know, always try to be not necessarily the smartest person in the room, but one of the smartest people in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and never get caught up in how things look, the appearance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Always see things and see people for who they are and what they are.
Yeah.
So I started practicing stoicism. All right. So stoicism is sort of like a ancient Greek and Roman philosophy of controlling your emotions, not getting emotional, and always trying to think 2 and 3 steps ahead, always analyzing the room and reading the situations, and then judging situations for what they are and not what they appear to be.
Right.
You know, always being in control of what's going on around you. And it does sort of handicap you emotionally because the one thing that stoicism always preaches is don't get emotional. Don't get emotional.
We're
don't let your
beings,
emotional
so.
rule. Don't let your emotions rule you. You know, always, you know, use your mind. Never think with your heart. And sometimes you do have to get out of that. Like, you know what? I do need to put my heart into this. I do need to do something that, you know, makes me feel good emotionally. Because otherwise, if you have no fun, then shit,
what are you doing this
exactly,
shit for?
you know? But it also helps me to be able to make smart decisions because I always take the emotion out of it.
It seemed like you're I know that you're a very observant person. Very observant. So do you read a lot?
A lot.
Okay.
I have a very extensive library.
Okay.
I got books on top of books.
Let's talk
on
about
top
it.
of books.
Let's talk about it. Throw some books out there that you've read or that you're looking to read.
Man, so you know, I used to do a lot of the 48 Laws of Power.
For sure.
You know, the 33 Strategies of War, the Art of Seduction, things of that nature. But as of lately, I've been reading a lot of the Bible, the Torah, and then the Quran.
Okay.
You know, I try to stay in some way, shape, or form tapped in to religion. And then not even so much as religion, but a lot of that is real life history.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of what goes on in the Bible goes on in the Torah and goes on in the Quran. Like they're genuinely 3 sides to the same story.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Things just sort of veer off once the New Testament of the Bible comes into play. But they all talk about Abraham. They all talk about Moses. They all talk about Noah. You know, they all talk about David. They all talk about, you know, just life prior to Jesus. And a lot of people just don't even know that, you know, Islam or the Muslims, they speak on Jesus. You know, they speak on Muhammad, the prophet that, you know, they put on a pedestal, and Jesus actually, you know, having a slight type of interaction. You know what I'm saying? Nothing too major, but you know, like I said, it's three sides of the same story. But you know, I always try to seek knowledge from those 3 books. Even if you're not a religious person, I always recommend reading the Bible and reading the Quran because they're gonna put you in the right mindset. Like they are great books that will teach you about life and how to live your life and how to move out here. You know, and neither book has ever steered me wrong. The Torah, you know, I haven't delved too deep into that, but the Quran and the Bible, they've never steered me wrong in any situation, hard situation, light situations, love, money, whatever. Those books have never steered me wrong.
That's dope, man. I know I could tell by the way that you speak that like you really ingested and digested a lot of that information and whatnot. You know? And I wanted to ask, or like self-improvement books, more of your your style, or is it just more so
Um,
informational, document?
More so business
Okay.
books. All right, business books, books about just structuring your life. I do have a lot of self-help books.
Mhm.
And those books are great because they tell me what I need to do. Most of the stuff I already know is what I need to do.
Right, a little
But then my
confirmation.
life is a little, it's not as simple as just reading a book and being able to apply
Yeah.
it, once you have the kids and the bills and you know what I'm saying, your career, and you're dealing with these types of niggas, you're dealing with corporate America. Like, it's not always easy to do certain things, like wake up at 4 a.m. and, make sure you work out for an hour every day and make sure, you eat these vegetables and eat this and make sure you juice and all that.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to be able to do that.
Well,
but I
everybody ain't
can't.
got time. We ain't that disciplined, man. It's like
Yeah,
pick your poison.
You
Pick your
definitely
poison.
do. Yep. But I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm reading books now. And I've bought these books a long time ago. Like, I'm that type of person. I'll see a book and I'll be like, ooh, I'm gonna read that one day, and I'll buy it and it'll
Yeah.
sit for maybe 2-3 years. But I'm reading a book right now, 2 books. One is called Medical Apartheid, and it talks about the experiments that have been done on black women
Mm.
over the last 300 years, maybe 400. You know what I'm saying? And how black women were used as human guinea pigs. So a lot of the technological advancements that we have today,
Right.
come from white doctors
Working
experimenting on black women. We're
Yeah.
talking about no anesthesia, like no painkillers, no nothing. They doing full-fledged surgery on these women. They tying them down and just cutting them open
crazy.
and pulling out organs and it's wild. And then you really see how white people feel about us,
Yeah.
but then you also get an appreciation for black women's contributions to society.
Right.
Even back then it was
Kinda look at it in
torture.
a whole different way.
Exactly, it was torture. But a lot of the medical advancements that we have today were because they were the human trials. Like, they weren't testing it on rats and dogs and guinea pigs. They were testing it on black women.
Yeah.
And a lot of these doctors are praised for their contributions to the medical world, and they not even acknowledging the fact that these people like really use black women as human guinea pigs, man. And I'm reading another book about famous lynchings in North Carolina, or prominent lynchings in North Carolina. And there's one, it happened on my side of town. I'm in the university area. So there's a road called Greer Road. There's also
Heard of that.
Elementary school called J.W. Greer Elementary is where both of my sons went to elementary school at. But the person J.W. Greer owned all that land that's over there in the university area by CPCC, Cato campus, and by UNCC. And he's actually responsible for one of the most famous and most horrendous lynchings in North Carolina, in the Charlotte area. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, man, they strung a dude up. They castrated him and everything. So at some point, in politics, if we gonna go out here and we're gonna change the names of streets here in Charlotte, like how they changed Stonewall Street to Brooklyn Village and all that. But
you're right. We did a couple years ago. They took down a statue in Richmond.
Exactly,
it was a big deal. It was now, we in the city, so I'm not like
Bingo.
looking at it like it's national attention, but it was definitely brought a lot of attention.
Yeah,
to the
they
city,
removed
protests.
all those Confederate monuments and all of those streets named after Confederate soldiers, and even military bases that were named after Confederate generals. They changed all those names. So if that's the route we're gonna take, then let's go ahead and change the name of some of these white people who lynch black people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
But yeah, those are 2 books that are really standing out to me right now, because when I read them, I can't put them down.
Got you. That's what's up, man. I appreciate it. But all the viewers out there, y'all got it. As far as DJ Chuck T's his playlist, not playlist, but his what he got in his library
books.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So y'all tap in. My guy, he got the knowledge, he got the wisdom. Y'all see it. But I wanted to kind of turn this over to the music or
Let's do it.
whatnot, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, so where did your love for music come from?
Man, grew up in a household with nothing but music. My mom was she had all of us in the church. I was about to say my mom was in the church. She's still in the church, but she had me, my siblings, my whole entire mom's side of the family. Everybody was deep in the church. Everybody had to sing on the choir. You know what I'm saying? That was like mandatory. You had to sing on the choir. So from the time I was 5, 6 years old, you know, we were singing. Everybody, whole entire family. My pops, you know, he old country ass nigga from Georgia. So you know, church wasn't his forte. But man, you talk about blues, jazz, R&B, all of that. You know, he had it all. He was constantly blasting, you know, whatever it was, whether it be Bobby Blue Bland, whether it be Anita Baker, whether it be Al Green, Marvin Gaye, Sam and Dave. Like, bro was really, really deep in the music. He had a old Cadillac. It had an 8-track player in it. You familiar? You know what an 8-track is?
I'm not.
Oh man, so it's like a big cassette. You know, in the evolution of how we listen to music, we started off with vinyl,
right?
Right. Then we went from vinyl to 8 tracks, and then 8 tracks sunk and became cassettes.
Okay,
exactly.
Okay. I come from the cassette. That's where
got you. Yeah, so you came in right after that. But yeah, when I was born, I was born in the early 80s. You know what I'm saying? So that was when they were phasing out 8 tracks, you know, and going into cassettes. And then from cassettes, we are hearing CDs, and then from CDs now we just streaming. We ain't got nothing. You would listen to it on your phone.
Crazy.
But
out the air.
Exactly. Yep. So I just grew up in a household that was filled with music. So it was just a part of me. It was ingrained in me.
Gotcha. So who were some of the people? You said your mom and your dad got the 8-track.
Yep.
Was any of your siblings? You was the youngest of.
Yeah, I was the youngest.
4.
So you know, like I said, all of us sang, but I was the only one who actually did something in the actual music industry. Everybody played around, rapped, you know what I'm saying, sang.
Typical Southern.
Exactly. You know, but I was the only person who actually took it serious. So I started rapping in 98, 99.
Okay.
You know, I started rapping. I released an album called 843 Ballers. You know, 843 is an area code in South Carolina, in Charleston.
Gotcha.
So came out with an album, and I just got to a point where, you know, man, I love the rapping, but you know, back then, see, now I could actually still I could be a successful rapper now with the style I had back then.
Let me find out.
But listen, back then,
I'm gonna do my research.
Look, boy, I got some heat now. You know what I'm saying? I got some heat. I still got some.
Chuck T,
yeah, boy, I still got some heat.
So did you have the same rap name? Was it
no. So my name was Priest because I used to bless the mic.
Okay.
You know what I'm but no, so back then, nobody wanted to hear struggle rap. Yeah. I came out in the bling bling era, man.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And I also came out in the era of authenticity, where you had to really be doing what you rapped about. Yeah. So I came out in an era where it was all about glitz and glamour. It was bling bling, Cash Money Millionaires, you know, Puffy in the shiny suit, you know. But then I also came out in the era of authenticity, where can't nobody write for you. You know, can't nobody help you do nothing. You better get in the studio, do it yourself, and you better rap your own shit. And then you at least need to have 90% of what you're rapping about.
Right.
You know, or have done 90% of what you're rapping about. So you know, I was lying all the time on my records.
So you just didn't feel right about it.
I didn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wanted to hear struggle rap back then, man.
You're a real nigga, though, because a lot of people be faking the funk.
Oh, man, they just lie.
To this day.
Oh, my God, they lie. Hell yeah.
People still be doing that shit, man.
I just couldn't look myself in the mirror, you know, knowing that I was just rapping about moving keys, but then I really had just sold like a half a pound of weed. You know what I'm saying? Still hustling, but at the same time, nigga, you're not Pablo Escobar. Right. So I'm on records talking like I'm Pablo Escobar, and you know, I'm just a, you know, nigga in the hood trying to, you know, rub 2 quarters together and make $1, man. You know what I'm saying? I bought a pound of weed, bagged it all up in the dimes. So now, where we are with niggas actually appreciating the struggle rap, I could have definitely been successful now. People would have loved to hear, you know what I'm saying, about the grind and the struggle and the hustle, you know. But back then, man, if you wasn't talking about Rolexes and Hummers and Benzes and you know what I'm saying, $100,000 change. I mean, people talk about it now, but there was no room for struggle rap back then.
Okay.
None.
So when did you decide to take the DJing serious?
So after I stopped rapping, I really just bounced around. So I did artist management. I did studio engineering. You know, I worked at a radio station, but I was in the sales department. I wasn't a DJ. Man, I did production. I did a little bit of everything because I loved music. I knew I wanted to do music and be involved in music, but I just had to sort of find my niche. So I got a job working at a radio station, like I told you, I was in the sales department. And because I had so much experience in the music production side of things, whenever the production department at the radio station would get backed up creating ads, I would go and record my own ads for my clients. Because if you know, the ad department, we go out, we go to local businesses. Hey, you want to advertise on the radio? This is how much it costs. This is where your spots are going to go. This is da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? They cut you the check. And then you send the script to the production department. The production department puts together the commercials. But I was on a really, really small independent radio station. We had like 2 people who were doing the commercials for all of us sales reps, you know, and people will listen to the radio. If you say your ad is going to air at between 9 and 9:30, they listening between 9 and 9:30 for that ad. If they don't hear the ad, now niggas is calling you.
Pre-social media.
Exactly.
Right.
So I ended up having so many people calling my phone. When my ad gonna run? Bro, my party is Friday. You know, or man, we started the sale on Sunday, today Wednesday, we still ain't heard nothing about it. So I just say, you know what, fuck all this. I'm going to the studio myself and I'm gonna cut my own ads because I already know what the fuck to do.
Right.
So we were running my ads on the radio. The people who run the radio station, they listen to the radio. They're like, yo, whose voice is that? Like, who is that? Somebody new doing the ads? Like, I love that voice. Like, I love those commercials. It's refreshing. Like, it's not what we used to over here. And that's when they were like, oh, that's the sales dude. They're like, the sales guy. He cuts his own commercials? Yeah. Bro used to rap. You know, he used to be up here, you know, giving us his music, this, that, and the other. They hired him in the sales team because, you know, he's just a people person. He got a lot of connections. So they're like, yo, look, let's move him from doing sales over to production. So that's when I started doing production. So I was just cutting all the commercials 24/7. That was like my job on the radio. And then from there, we had somebody on the station who got into a little bit of trouble. They got suspended. They needed somebody to fill in. Nobody else wanted to fill in. So I'm like, shit, I'll try it.
Yeah.
You know, so I filled in for him for like 3-4 days, learned the ins and outs of doing radio, learned how, you know, the formats worked, learned about what goes on behind the scenes in radio. And I really just started studying, being a radio personality. And I realized that, you know, and a lot of people may not know this, but the people who are on the air, the jocks, the on-air personalities, they do not determine what gets played on the radio.
Okay.
So, you know, you got people running up on No Limit Larry.
It's already pre-recorded.
It's already pre-programmed.
Okay.
You know, the only people who have that type of power are the actual DJs, the mixers who have mix shows.
Right.
And that's when I started saying to myself, well, damn, they got a lot of power. And I love the way the music sounds whenever they mix, you know, whenever they cut, whenever they scratch. And I just, you know what I'm saying, took it from there and started playing around and trying to learn how to DJ.
At this point, how long have you been DJing in totality?
Man, that's a good question because even though, you know, I was DJing, even though I was doing mixtapes, I don't consider myself a real DJ. So a lot of people, they know me from the mixtapes. They know me from, you know, my Down South Slangin' mixtapes, my explicit R&B mixtapes. But when I first started doing mixtapes, I don't consider myself a real DJ. But
Bless up.
But I would say
bless up.
Thank you. I've been DJing about 17 years.
17 years.
About 17 years. Do you know why they say bless you whenever you sneeze? Because your heart stops.
Yeah, your heart stops.
Your heart stops. Yep, your heart stops.
Yeah. Did y'all know that? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. Fun facts by DJ Chuck T. All right, man. So I wanted to ask as well. So what are some of your, what were some of your motivations getting into the game? Was it fame? Was it the money? Is it a trendy thing to do at the time?
It started off as love, and love is definitely what has sort of kept me going. Just the love of doing music. And that's what definitely has kept me going, because the money comes and the money goes. The fame comes, the fame goes. You can be hot 1 minute and you not, and then you can bounce back, and then you gonna fall off again.
Right.
The game has ebbs and flows, and it's really man, just the love of being immersed in music, and how music can change people's lives. It can change their mindset. It can change their emotions. On top of that, you can use music to educate.
Yeah.
And that's why, my career has taken more of a turn to the education the last 6-7 years, because I'm just getting older. Sometimes, the music, as we talked about off camera, the music just ain't the same, as it was. There's not a lot of substance in it. But even outside of that, because somebody loves it, one thing I always say about music is, good music and bad music is an opinion.
Yes,
all right, it's an opinion. No such thing as good music. No such thing as bad music.
Mm-hmm.
All right, as long as you have your business together, and as long as the audio quality is solid, those are the only two factual things about music. Having industry quality or studio quality music, making sure it's mixed and mastered, your levels are right, and making sure the business behind the music is correct. Those are only two things that's factual. But over the course of my career, I just saw the recurring theme of artists going platinum and then winding up broke. Like, how do you sell 10, 15, 20 million records and wind up broke?
Yeah.
Or like, why did you sign this horrible contract where you didn't own shit? Like, why are these things happening? And as I started moving up the ranks in the music business, I started understanding that, the contracts are set up to be deceptive. The music business as a whole is set up to be deceptive. Just the overall creation of it and how it was created. It was really just created to deceive and just be completely predatory, as far as an artist standpoint. There are some things that are fair, because, at the end of the day, artists and labels and artists and management and publishing companies, we are doing business. So everybody has to eat.
Yeah.
But then also, the people at the top, it's almost like modern day slavery. Like they really put you underneath their foot and try to pin you down.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, okay, you owe me X amount of dollars. I'm going to give you this loan. This is what you owe me. Let's work it off. And it's another thing if in the process of you working it off, you're throwing in little bullshit here and there to keep me having to work so I can never pay you back.
Right. Just the never-ending cycle sort of.
It is, man. The contracts are set up wild. You have the lawyers who are in bed with the labels. So artists will go find a lawyer, but then the lawyer will serve you up to the label. You asking the lawyer, like, the lawyer's supposed to protect you, but the lawyer is like, oh yeah, that's industry standard. Well, what's industry standard? Is it fair, my nigga?
Yeah.
Like, fuck me if it's industry standard, bro. Like, am I gonna be locked into this contract forever? If 30 years from now, am I still gonna be trying to work my way out of my first deal, bro? But it's really predatory.
So is that a reason that you started Charlotte Industry Night?
So,
because I know you said you've been taking the turn to kind of educate.
Yeah, so I started the Foundation of Music, which is my music business classes.
Okay.
And then from there I did Hornets Music Industry Night. Even though I had been doing showcases, I wanted to add a different element to it, like an educational element.
Yeah.
And that's why I fly in the record rep. So like I said, I've been doing it for a while. But then when the Hornets reached out to me, I was just able to move it from me doing it, in clubs and bars, and taking it, to the arena.
Right.
But yeah, it's we had way too many fake showcases with fake label reps whenever I first came here to Charlotte.
Okay.
You know, like there were just so many of them. They put, oh yeah, we have a rep from Def Jam who's gonna be in the building, and it would be like the janitor. They'd be like, yeah, we got somebody coming from Warner Music Group, and then it's like the assistant of the assistant of the assistant.
Right.
You know, it's the guy who works in the mail room, you know, at Warner Music Group. You know,
I
and it was wild.
Get that. I definitely
it was wild. Like just the Carolinas period. Charlotte, you know, I thought would have been more ahead of the game when I got here, but it wasn't. It was scam city. So I came in the game and I saw that there was a lot to be done. I could, you know, everything in my mind, I always try to help. Money is always second.
Right.
So I say, how can I help? You know, what is a problem that's going on that I can actually solve? And then we'll worry about the money later.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The money always is going to come.
Gotcha. So I know it's like the end of the season now, but are you planning on doing any more Hornets Industry Nights?
Yeah. So I'm in my fifth. I'm going into, well, we just ended. I'll put it this way. The season ain't over for the NBA players who are NBA teams that are good, but for the Hornets it's over.
Right.
You know, it ended in April. You know, no playoffs, no championships,
Yeah.
no finals. So we're already preparing for next season. So yeah, going into the 2025-2026 season, we already locked in. There's still a few things in my contract with the Hornets that I have to renegotiate.
Mhm.
You know, some small details that we got to iron out. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to working with them going into next season.
I know that was a great opportunity and was like a gratifying feeling. So how did you feel like when they reached out or whenever that deal was made or whatnot? Because that's a really big deal.
So, you know, like I told you before, as far as, you know, like me practicing stoicism, I don't get emotional about a lot of things.
Right,
and
try
then
to stay neutral.
I try to stay neutral so that I can keep a clear head. But then on top of that, you know, man, I feel like I just been in so many situations that I thought were gonna be good that turned out bad.
Yeah.
That I really just don't get excited until something actually happens.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It take a lot to move you. It
takes a whole lot. Yeah, it takes a whole lot.
You're not a bullshitter. Like you can tell bullshit when it's bullshit. Probably a lot of people then came by and sold you a dream or what have you, and just going through all the ups and downs.
Yeah, but being in the music industry, you gotta learn. You gotta learn the bullshitters, bro.
That's right.
You know, there's a lot of scammers in this business. Like I have never seen an industry that has more scammers than the music business.
Than the scamming industry. We damn near next to the scamming industry.
Yeah, this is the scamming industry.
Right.
You know, like this is part of the scamming industry. Like it's all people trying to get over on somebody, man. And in the first I talked about my music business class, the foundation of music. The first 45 minutes to an hour and a half of class, we're talking about business ethics. We don't just go straight into getting your LLC and your EIN number and your DUNS number and, you know, registering your music with a PRO and, you know, what to look for in contracts and all. We don't do that. We go business ethics first because everybody always talks about, you know, how shady the music business is. Okay, well, who gonna do something about it? You know what I'm saying? You just can't say this is how it is. You know, anytime somebody brings up Black executives and how they've gotten over on artists, they always say, well, you got to look at who they learned it from. They learned it from the white man. The white man is who taught them the business. But, bro, at some point, your morals and your values got to kick in and say, bro, this ain't right. I'm not doing this to not just my people. I'm not doing this to any artist, Black, white, Hispanic, whatever. Like, that's not how we going to do business. We going to be fair. I'm going to make my money being fair. I'm not going to try to work my artists into poverty, you know, just so that I can gain financially. So the first 45 minutes to an hour of my class is how to move, how to treat people, how to talk to people, how to negotiate, being fair, you know, and making sure that both sides win in the end. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you know, the business is super important, you know, because we are in the music business.
That's right.
You know?
Gotcha. So I wanted to ask. So I know it was like a big question that you kind of caught some heat a little while ago. Somebody asked you, do you feel like there's any artist that's in the Carolinas that's ready for the industry?
Yeah, ready for a major record deal.
For a major record deal. Do you still feel the same way, or has your No,
I still feel the same way. And the more and more I travel, the more and more I see that we're so far behind on the business side that man, it's I wouldn't feel comfortable taking the most talented artists here in the Carolinas to a major label. I just wouldn't feel comfortable. Like, and that's why I focused more so on the business, because we have had a lot of artists here in the Carolinas who have been signed to majors. They may not want to talk about it because it didn't work out for them.
Yeah.
You know, so we have a few artists now who are signed to majors who won't even say that they signed to majors. You know, they still try to give the illusion that they're independent.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why is because when you start talking about dealing with a major label, you know, people are going to start asking you the details of your deal.
Yeah.
And then when you start talking about the details of your deal, half of the time you don't know the details. The other half, you really just didn't understand. Even if you do know the details, you didn't understand it. And then you start to say, well, damn, shit, what was the point of you signing?
Right.
You know, if you still got to put your own money up, you still out here trying to, you know, navigate through just the basics of how to break your record and how to talk to the media. There's just so much that goes into being signed to a major that artists don't understand. So, you know, whenever I made those comments before, everybody just thought about, well, I feel like I'm just as hot as Boss Man D-Lo. I can rap just as good as YTB Fat. I can rap just as good as Moneybagg Yo. I feel like, you know, Glorilla, you know, I look better than Glorilla. My surgery is better than Lotto's. Like, you have all of these different things. You know, I can dance better than Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first thing everybody started thinking, like, from a talent standpoint.
Yeah.
But I completely meant from a business standpoint. You know, and I tell so many artists, like, my nigga, if you were ready for a deal on so many occasions, you know, first off, the industry gonna come to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have so many artists. So even some of the most talented artists that I know of here in the Carolinas, you sit them down here in front of a mic and they're dry, they're bland, they don't make eye contact with you. You know, even some of the most talented artists in the Carolinas, when I look up if they have their music registered with MediaBase, is their music registered with ASCAP or BMI? Is it even copywritten? Like, you don't even have that. You know what I'm saying? So how are you ready for a major deal if you don't have the basic setup to monitor your music, protect yourself, anything?
So it's not the talent. It's not the talent that he's saying that you're saying.
Yeah, no. Talent we don't lack on at all. I even said that in that interview. But you know, people gonna clip the sound bite.
Clip and run with it.
Yeah, boy, they gonna take the sound bite. But most of the people who were upset about it, them niggas ain't going nowhere, no way.
Right.
Here we are over a year later. I made that statement last year in February. We 18 months out. Who got signed to a major label? Who? You see what I'm saying?
There's people out there still salty about it. And you know me,
man. I always, when they get salt, when they be salty about it, bro, what are you doing about it?
And you know,
where's your deal at? What are you doing about it? If you salty, but prove me wrong. That was my main thing. Prove me wrong. If you salty about it, prove me wrong. But I will say this though. Even though, you know, there are a lot of salty people out there, you wouldn't believe the amount of people, you know, because if you almost look at just the trajectory of where I am now, where I was then, it's like, damn, even though he made those controversial statements, like, bruh just is still out of here. He's still shooting up. He going up. We thought that niggas would be trying to tear him down. Right. But there was so many people who came to me, big bro, you know what I'm saying? Oh, gee, shit, man, let's sit down, bro. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas have been telling me for the longest that I'm on. Like, oh, you ready? You know, you ready? And here it is 5 years later. I'm still like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
You know, what can I do to improve? And people don't really see that side, but like, shit, man, my bread went up. You know, my knowledge of the game went up. My knowledge of who's moving in different areas went up because I had so many artists flooding my inbox, calling me. Shit, if you don't think I'm ready for a deal, my nigga, tell me what the fuck I'm doing wrong.
And I feel like that's definitely the better approach to have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As an artist, because one, everybody got work to put in. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
And
Everybody.
you don't have eyes on everything. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
No, correct.
So if you feel that he ain't acknowledge you or what have you, you gotta put in that work to, you know what I'm saying?
be acknowledged.
To be acknowledged.
Look, and not just by me, because I'm not the only person who can walk somebody into a situation. There are other people here. It's not many, but there are other people here who can walk you into a situation. So shit, if they haven't been able to do it, and I ain't been able to do it, and you ain't been able to do it on your own,
in the mirror. You gotta
know
look
what I'm
yourself in the
saying?
mirror.
Like, shh.
And I feel like
You
as
know?
an artist, that's where the journey, it gets rough, but that's where it gets fun.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's your opportunity. Like, all right, let me show this nigga.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying?
Because that's how I've achieved everything in my career. Everything I've done in my career has been on, somebody said I couldn't do it, or somebody said, ain't nobody from the Carolinas ever did it.
Right.
Or, y'all even, what is in the Carolinas? Y'all got chickens and cows and this, that.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. I'm about to show you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm about to show you we break records around here. I'm about to
Yeah.
show you we got some of the best talent. I'm about to show you we on top of our shit.
And shout out to the Carolinas, man, just in general. Speaking of the Carolinas, because, I just moved here from Virginia not too long ago. And
in the DMV, y'all in the same situation.
Yeah,
y'all are definitely in the same situation.
And I just been enjoying myself just being here in the North Carolinas and seeing the culture. Everybody got rooms to grow with each city in their music scene or what have you. You know what I'm saying? But even from last year to now, you know what I'm saying, I've been seeing a lot of growth, not just for myself, but other artists as well. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I'm grateful to be part of the North Carolina community, the Charlotte community, or what have you. But I also wanted to ask Chuck T, at that time you getting a lot of heat or whatnot. How do you deal with the criticism and still be able to,
So it's
all that
part of my
feedback?
brand at this point.
Okay.
Like people fuck with me because I tell the truth. So many people in this industry are they want to be loved so bad.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I don't want the fake love. You see what I'm saying? I want you to love me. I want you to appreciate me because you genuinely do.
Yeah.
And the one way I can make that happen is by being truthful,
right,
and by being honest.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, even though people may not like me, people respect me.
Mhm.
And if somebody wants to challenge me, I'm always open for a discussion or whatever type of challenge it is. I'm always open for
Right.
it. But I don't focus on the negative. I always focus on the positive. So if I see 100 niggas who are saying, man, fuck that nigga Chuck T, he a bitch, he don't know this, and this, and this, and this. I don't focus on that. I focus on the ones who calling me, hey, big bro, man, I'm about to shoot 200 to your Cash App. Man, I need a 3-hour meeting with you. I'm bringing me, my manager, my producer. We need to sit down and get my paperwork together, bro. We need to figure out who the top studios are in the city so that I can get my shit mixed and mastered correctly. I need to know who are the dope photographers and videographers. I know I need a press kit, my nigga. I know, I don't know how to talk as far as doing interviews. I know I say a lot and you know what I'm saying and you feel me. I know I don't know how to convey my thoughts properly. Like, can I book an hour of your time and maybe we do some media training or something? Like, there are so many artists who really want to learn that. You can't focus on the ones who just want to, get mad and upset and be local forever, because most of the people who got mad and upset, they was local then. We 18 months later, they local now.
Yeah.
Like they ain't done shit. Most of the people who was talking shit, I swear to you, I can go to their Spotify and they have underneath 1,000 monthly listeners.
I always like to say I got a song out there, but if you think that I'm doing too much, then you just ain't doing enough.
Bingo. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. If you don't like change the narrative.
Bingo, do it. Like you said,
got the power.
like you said, do it. You're not doing enough. You know what I'm saying?
Type shit.
Yep, you're not doing enough. But even to a lot of the people who are upset, I try to have meaningful conversations with them. If I see something, and a lot of times when I be out and I see these people, they don't say nothing to me, I'll go holler at them. Hey, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Boy, I seen that comment you put on Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Not Chuck T out here checking, nigga.
It don't even be on no checking type shit, because a lot of them I know them.
Right, on some respect.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of people that I've been fucking with for years, who got pissed And I'm sitting here like, my nigga, I've known you since you was performing at Studio. Y'all don't know nothing about this because you're not from it. Y'all, you were performing at Studio 74. You were performing at what was the Faces. That was another club. Club Face. You was doing Faces. You was doing Who Got a Bang with Mary Mack the last 2 years, 3 years, because they started that in the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? And you still local, bro. You know what I'm saying? So while you sitting here getting mad at me, why you don't ever ask yourself, why am I still local 5 years later?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 10 years later, I've been rapping 10 years.
Gotta change that formula.
Like, I ain't got one paid show yet. You know what I'm saying? You seriously, you need to be hollering at me on some like, Chuck, what am I doing wrong, my nigga?
You know what's cool about you, Chuck, though, man? It's like you real about it. And where I come from, you know, we don't have too many pioneers, too many people that can walk us into, you know what I'm saying, an opportunity or a good situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of fabricating. And as an artist,
lot of it, man.
I get pissed off going to these shows and I see people getting bigged up. And I ain't no hater. Hey, man, wherever you at in your artistry, as long as you give your all, you get an A+ from me every night. You ain't got to be the best. But if you trying, I'm going to give you more respect than somebody who more talented, who got a better song and get up there and half-ass this shit.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? But I love the fact that you keep it real with people. And it's only going to help the community in Charlotte.
And that's what we need.
In the eye. It's exactly what they need because it's so much fake. It's so much fake and fabricating shit. Like we was talking about earlier. It's so much scamming and people trying to sell people dreams for their own monetary goals or what have you.
Nah, correct.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and that's a big issue here in the Carolinas.
We need that as artists everywhere, not just in Charlotte. We need that because it's the game is getting watered down, it's getting oversaturated, and it's hard for people that's really out here trying to make something happen. Yeah, make it happen.
Exactly. That's I used to always feel differently about the saying of like, man, if you're not taking it seriously, you just in the way. And I used to always feel like, well, shit, you know, nigga can't be in your way if he's half-assing it. How's he in your way? But in the music industry, I'm gonna tell you something. The people who are half-assing it are really fucking it up for the people who are serious about their music. Because when you look at how streaming platforms calculate how much they pay artists, it's based on how many artists are uploading music and then how much music these artists are uploading. So if you think about it, they said there's close to 70,000 tracks a day that get uploaded. 70,000 tracks a day.
That's wild.
That get uploaded to streaming platforms. All right. They also said that I think I'm lowballing the number. They said that there's over, 350,000 tracks on streaming platforms that have no play, none, not one stream.
Right.
And I think that's the low ball number. All of that gets factored into how much artists get paid from the streaming platforms because they got to take that $9.99 and that $19.99 a month that they get from subscribers and they got to spread that around to everybody.
Yeah.
So the more artists that are literally just doing nothing, not promoting their music, not taking that shit seriously, they putting up on the platforms and thinking that, it's just going to magically blow up. No. You are bringing down how much everybody else gets paid by half-assing it. So, I've seen it just so many times. The scammers, like you brought up, the scammers just telling people, oh yeah, your music hot. Yo, you fire. You going places. And I'm listening to the music and I'm like, where the fuck do you think he's going with it? You know what I'm saying? And then these artists that get out here and be like, yeah, I had a meeting with such and such record label, or so-and-so who's from such and such record label, or he used to work with this record label. He told me I'm fire. He told me I'm high. He told me I'm next up. He told me I'm this. He told me I'm that. Or she told me I'm this. She told me I'm that. And then 4 or 5 years later, you still ain't going nowhere. And I'm sitting here like, they lied to you, bro. They took your money and they lied to you. You need help with at least 10 to 12 different things that I can see. You are not ready for the industry, my nigga. You just got on stage and you couldn't even rap your whole song. How the fuck are you ready for the music industry? You got tired. You smoked too fucking much. Your belly hanging over your pants, bro. You jumped around for the first 30 seconds of the song, and then the last 2 minutes of the song, you was breathing heavy in the mic. You just overall just stopped the rapping, and you just up here, this, that, like you got the track rapping behind you, you know, you not saying anything. Bro, how do you ever expect to get a paid show, and that's how you presenting yourself? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just basics. That's just basics, bro. Put the fucking blunts down. Get in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Go run a few miles, because an artist makes the majority of their money in the beginning stages until they pay back. I mean, if you in a traditional record deal, you get the majority of your money from shows. All right? Because any deal you get into now, you're going to be paid, especially because streams are 0.0036 of a penny. If somebody give you $100,000, you're going to be paying that back for 25 years. But either way it goes, you're going to get the majority of your money off of doing shows. So work on your stage show. Work on your interactions with the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Hype people up. Amp people up. Don't just get up there because you may see, you know, your favorite artist, you know, get up there and not really move around too much, not really interact with the crowd. You know, that's because them niggas had a multi-million-dollar budget where they shoved the music down the public's throat first. You know what I'm saying? So the public love the music. You don't have a multi-million-dollar budget. You got to captivate the people. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't have that advantage. So you just can't say, oh, I seen Boss Man D-Lo get up there. He just had his jewelry on. He had his shirt wide open. That nigga fat. You know what I'm saying? He just walked back and forth across the stage. He didn't do much. Yeah, he had a multi-million-dollar budget. He has people behind him in the industry who have 50 years of experience.
There's a difference.
Who are able to shove that music down our throat and put him in different places where he need to be. And we fell in love with the music. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that. Right. So in the meantime, until you get somebody who has that bag that can put behind you and them connections where they can put you in certain rooms.
Give your fucking all and don't half-ass it.
Bingo. Stop half-assing it. Gotcha. Get your ass in the motherfucking gym. When you go in the studio, stop all that punching in right.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You can punch in every now and then if something comes to you, but bro, we need you to punch in, then go back, remember what you punched in, memorize it, go back and lay it down in a format to where now you can rap it, because a lot of that punching shit, you overlap so much you can't perform that. You're not capable of rapping on top of yourself.
I got you. I got you, man. But I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
Chuck T, you've been giving a lot of game out here, man. I want to give you your flowers.
Thank you.
And just let you know I appreciate you so much. And a lot of other artists in Charlotte, in North Carolina, South Carolina, they really feel the same way.
Nah, definitely.
You know,
definitely. The love always outshadows the hate.
That's right. Do you have any lasting words that you want to give the audience before we head out of here?
Man, look, definitely learn the business. All right, remember the music business is a business. All right, there's a lot of money in it. I know a lot of artists. Y'all may do this as a hobby. Y'all may do this as therapy. You may do this as a way to release. You may do it because it makes you feel good. But at the same time, there's a lot of people getting a whole lot of money off of this thing. And there's a lot of people who will make a whole lot of money off of you in your craft, you know, if you don't learn the business. So learn the business. Learn how the labels work. Learn how the streaming platforms work. Learn how to market and promote yourself. And really, really get out here and take this shit seriously, because the music industry can change lives. It has changed lives. Shit, it changed my life. Hey. You know what I'm saying? And so what better way to live than to wake up every morning and do what it is you love and make good money doing it. You know what I'm saying? Take it seriously.
Hey, man, boy, we appreciate you, DJ.
Definitely, I appreciate you, man.
Hey,
real shit.
I'm telling you, you literally like one of the main reasons why I moved to North Carolina. Like I said, I know you probably don't remember, bro, but like it was 2 years ago at Carolina Waves tour. When I heard Cherio try to finish this up, but it was at Carolina Waves tour. And you know, I just seen that what you and Miriam had going on, you know, from her doing a Carolina Waves tour.
Shout out to
Miriam. Miriam.
Her real name is Miriam, but you know her hip hop name is Miriam.
Got you. All right, so I'm used to saying Miriam. You know,
yeah, that's a real name.
All right, but so
shout out to Miriam.
So you know, just that was like my intro to North Carolina, and then you know, doing my research on yourself and seeing the history and seeing how active you are in the community and giving back, you know, back home we have our resources or what have you too. You know what I mean? But it's more out there in the world. You know what I mean?
Correct.
To explore or what have you. And
Yeah.
y'all definitely made something out here that's of value from the outside looking in.
Got you.
You know,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah, we got to preserve it.
y'all do,
And the DMV is full of talent, is full
Yeah.
of opportunity. At one point in time, I was even thinking about moving to either Newport News or Richmond, or one of those places up there, just to do 2 or 3 years and really cultivate that market because I know you younger, but I was one of the people who helped Trey Songz when he first got on.
Wow.
But this is before he got his deal, when he was doing freestyles. A lot of his freestyles were on my mixtapes first. Yep,
Right,
they was on
shit.
Chuck T mixtapes.
Hey
Yep.
man, I gotta holler at you, Chuck. Just on because you got
Yep.
so much history, man. I only been here for so long, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like we was talking about earlier, that's the point of that why I started this podcast, to be able to connect and really have these conversations and dig
Mhm.
deep. Because when we catch each other passes by, you in that mode, I'm preparing to perform.
Gotcha.
Or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. So we really don't have that time to really connect
There you go. Yeah.
how we want to connect. You
No,
know?
you're correct.
So I still got a lot to learn about you, but this was a great opportunity.
Yeah, great way to start. We got to come back in probably about a month or two and
Oh, yeah.
do part 2.